We have the world number 1 and the GOAT, Magnus Carlsen, waiting to cross the street and enter the playing hall. Observe him closely as he's walking along with his wife Ella, and the big clash is with the world champion Domaraju Gukesh as he enters in with his trainer and second Grzegorz Gajewski draw. And now they face off against each other in 2026 for the first time. And this is a very interesting battle because we are used to seeing for all these years is coming back in this tournament. Queen f2, threatening a mate here, giving up a free piece on d6 with a check. King comes to g7, queen e5 check, and now f6. What a beautiful move. He must give up the rook, otherwise there's a mate, so he gives it up. Queen takes b2, Magnus takes the queen, rook b1 to attack the pawn on b7, takes the a3 pawn, rook takes b7, king f8. The a pawn is incredibly strong. g4 played, Gukesh down to 36 seconds, a4, the pawn pushes forward, and Gukesh here with almost no time on the clock resigns the game. Magnus wins it, and Gukesh there, well, he tried his best I think, but Magnus was just too good.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Norway Chess 2026, an elite tournament being held in Oslo, and Magnus Carlsen's worst tournament since 2015. Will leave us with a 2-on-1 or a 2-on-0. So we have this move, queen takes f4, rook b2, king here, and this, ladies and gentlemen, is the conclusion of the game. The rook is hanging, but more importantly, mate. And the only way that you can survive this, by the way, he sacrificed the knight with the check. The only way you can survive this move is to give a check and sacrifice your queen. The queen has no option except to sacrifice itself for the rook, because if you had gone queen c7, who else would you think would protect the king? The king is completely safe. And this mate is unstoppable. Now you would lose a terrible amount of material, and then you would get mated anyway. Magnus Carlsen is up a queen. I'm gonna say it right now, this was one of the most impressive games he has ever played. To navigate that position, this game is an example of a video that I would have just made like at any given moment over my last 6 years of making content. All right, like he takes the pawn, he loses a pawn with check, it doesn't matter. Why is this winning for white? A queen beats a rook in another piece. A queen usually beats a rook and a knight very easily in certain situations, and one of those situations is outside pass pawn. Like if you have a queen and an outside pass pawn, pawn's just going, your enemy pieces just can't keep up. There's nothing they can do. Gukesh doesn't even wait. a4, he just resigns. Because Magnus's next few moves are literally just getting the queen out of the way and promoting this pawn. It can go to a3 and a2 and a1. Every single square is protected. This knight's not doing anything. The bishop is just standing there. King's happy. Every check it's going to get closer to, to help the queen. Magnus wins. Dominant, absolutely ruthless game. It looks like he has won every game of the tournament. He started horribly. And to bounce back like this against the world champ, I mean, I got nothing else to say.
Welcome back, everyone. For today's video, we are back with round number 4 of the Norway Chess tournament being held in Oslo, Norway. Now, Magnus Carlsen, the 5-time world champion, has suffered 2 huge defeats against Pragnananta from India and Alireza Firouzja from France, so he's off to perhaps his worst start in a competitive tournament in at least 1 decade, if not 2 decades. So, with Magnus off to a terrible start and playing in the super strong tournament, today the tournament continues and he has the black pieces against the current world chess champion, Gukesh Domaraju. On, Magnus makes a check. If you were to play rook d1, which is another move here, black will go check, rook d2, and after takes, and a move like b5 here, black is simply going to win with 1 extra pawn on the board. So Gukesh plays queen f4, Magnus makes a check, we get king h1, and now Magnus plays move queen f2. Now here Magnus has plenty of time to think and calculate the line, and he correctly assesses that with a double stack on the second rank and this clean threat of queen g2 checkmate, white has no way to survive. So we get queen takes knight. Magnus moves the king up. We get check. Magnus blocked. And here Gukesh has to sack the queen for the rook, because if you go queen c7 and black blocks, now the threat of queen g2 is simply too much. If you move the knight to stop this, I can take and checkmate like this. I can also go queen takes h2 and checkmate. So the problem here is that with both the mates on g2 and h2 looming, white has nothing to do. So therefore, Gukesh decides to sack the queen. We get queen takes queen, rook b1, Magnus takes, we get check, king to f8, g4, Magnus plays a4, and here Gukesh simply resigns because there's no way for Gukesh to stop Magnus from pushing his p up the board and achieving a second queen if white doesn't sacrifice the material. Sample line would be rook to a7, queen c1 attacking the pony, king g2, and now it's ale. The pawn just rolls right up the board. You keep pushing with the bishop guarding the pawn, and then you push again, and after takes, you have a queen for a knight. No doubt about it, this is over.